Well, welcome back, everybody. Nice to see some familiar faces. Dennis, what's going on, my guy?
Well,
What's going on? Benny, nice to see you again. Brad, Tamika. Hey, y'all. Happy
hi guys.
Tuesday. Ooh, ooh, we got a good one for y'all today. Come with y'all questions, because we got someone that can answer them for y'all outside of me and Nick.
Nice for a change.
Nice, right. Nice to see some familiar faces. Thank you, thank you. All right, you start. You want to hit the record so we live, Nick?
Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, we're all set there. And then we're
Yes,
just going live as we speak.
sweet. All right, I see recording pause on mine. I don't know if that's
Yeah. No, yeah, it says it's on mine. Sweet.
gotcha. Okay, sweet.
Yeah. Hi, hey,
All
everyone.
right.
What's going on? Thank you so much for jumping back in with us. I know that we've been predominantly the land group, right? This group coaching call has been focused predominantly on land. So I've got an up and coming celebrity almost, if you will. I don't know if he knows it or not, but Jonathan created something special. Jonathan Doe's here with us today. He's a big land investor, and he created the group, the High Value Land Group. If you're not in it yet, we'll get a link posted in the chat, but definitely one of the best land groups out there. Jonathan just has this huge heart. He literally just created it because he was looking for like-minded people to work with. And I think they've crossed 9,000 members by now. I mean, it's bananas what's been going on. But Jonathan's a big time land expert. He just had a $250,000 land investing month. A couple months back, he had another 100K month. So he's really breaking his stride. And I wanted to get him in here so you guys can meet him, so he can get in the group and do all that good stuff. Um, but Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us today, bro.
No, I appreciate you having me, brother. It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. So what do you got in store for us today? What you thinking? What's on your agenda?
We could talk a little bit about the journey, but really I just want to network, answer any questions anybody has, and just kind of go from there, you know?
Yeah. No, I think your story would be great, right? Just a little bit of startup, where you came from, maybe what your skill sets are, and then if you want, we could do like an open Q&A, and we can just see how, if there's anything that we could do together with the clients in here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, my name is Jonathan Duong. I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts, but I live out here in Central Florida. I got into the land business in 2020, so I've been in it for about 4 years now, and I focus on infill lots in the state of Florida. So Um, I work with national builders, mom and pop builders. I kind of do the reverse engineer strategy where I find what they want and then hunt for it. So yeah, I've been doing that. And a couple years, I would say 2 years ago, we started to build a team and hire some VAs, and we were able to scale and just hit these milestones that we've been aiming for. But yeah, this year I'm looking to expand into different exit strategies with land, so land entitlements or buying bigger parcels, splitting them up, or even creating notes. So definitely want to learn more about that. And yeah, it's just it's been a journey. So where I'm at now, it wasn't expected, man, but it's been a big blessing to be around great people, to meet people in the land space, and then just build relationships and be in that service, of course, you know.
Sweet, sweet. And I also had a quick question for you, and also this could be perspective for everyone else as well too. So you started off in 2020, right? What was the first 6 to 9 months like for you starting up,
All
getting
right.
into it?
That's a great question. Yeah, so I didn't close my first deal till probably 4 or 5 months into the wholesale and infill lots. And then the whole year of 2020, we all know it was crazy. You know, there was a lot of things going on. There's a lot of fear. But I only made $3,000 that year. So there was a big learning curve for me. I didn't have no other job and stuff. I went full on to the land investing. And
Mm,
I just kind of took that year to study and stuff. But of course I had a little cushion, a little savings where I was able to get through. But it was
yeah.
definitely a tough start. Definitely a tough start to the journey, man.
Gotcha. Okay, so 4 or 5 months in, and you going into it, you decided to go full time. What were you doing like before that you used as like like something transferable to apply to real estate? What was your career before?
It was actually, so first it was timeshare, right? So it was timeshare. So I had to get my real estate license. I did a little timeshare on the front end, bro. Then,
What?
yeah, I did that for a couple months. And I only got my real estate license because you could only get paid the commission in timeshare if you have it, right? And then I did that. And then I ended up being on the other side where I'm helping people get out of timeshare. So it was timeshare resales, right? So it was weird, but the skills that I learned were like the commission based jobs. You basically you hunt for your food. So that's what I kind of brought with me into my
Yeah.
business now.
Yeah. Anyone that is familiar with timeshares, that's not an easy sell to those are hard sales right there. Like we went on vacation a couple months ago, and I'm telling you, like, man, they was trying to sell us hard on this timeshare, and it was like, so that experience alone is definitely transferable. Those sales skills that you got, because you're belly to belly with these people. It's not over the phone. It's not through a computer screen. So like, what did you learn from that experience that transferred over to real estate as far as like
Man,
sales wise?
right, right. Basically, there was like we don't even understand the word no, bro. Like you probably experienced it, right? It's like, hey, we need a yes, but of course, they teach us how to use certain sales tactics. Some of them I agreed with, some of them I didn't, but it's very pushy. I'll tell you that. So,
Yes.
yeah, basically. They offer an incentive. You come in, you take them around the timeshare place and kind of do what
You
it do.
reel them in. Yeah.
Yeah. But it does make sense for some people, but really it doesn't. Just depends how much you travel, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the commission based jobs too is like you get a little hourly, but you really survive off the commission. So if you don't close no deals, you don't eat. And of course, we know in
Mm.
our line of business, entrepreneurship is kind of the same way, right?
Yeah. So you were already used to like the commission based type of environment to survive on. So that's good because a lot of people I always talk about the number one question that I used to ask, and then when I got into real estate, it became the number one question that was asked to me was how did you transition from full-time W-2 to full-time entrepreneurship?
Mm.
And over the course of time, I realized what they're really asking was how much money did you have to make to leave the security that you're consistently going to get in order to feel comfortable venturing off and doing something that's only secured based on your efforts. So it's good that you had that experience as well too.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
100%, bro. You might as well just ask the question straight up, like, how much money should I have to the side before I make that jump? And
Yeah.
and some people feel better with a cushion, some people jump all in, everybody has a
Yeah.
different journey. So I feel like any part of the journey you're on, as long as you got faith in your abilities and you're consistent and you're actually focused on what you're trying to build, then you'll be successful.
Mhm. Sweet. And if you any of you guys have any questions, you guys can either put it in the chat or unmute yourselves or raise your hand so that way we don't have multiple people at the same time. You guys can ask your questions as well.
Let me see.
If not, Francisco got plethora of questions tucked away. So just let me know because this is a learning experience for me too. I don't want to hoard all the questions.
Yeah, does anybody got any questions about what we do, the infill lot, state of Florida, land in general, or maybe finding a market, builders, buyers, whatever it might be?
I
I
I
got
can ask a question. Uh,
go ahead. Go ahead, Benny.
yeah, I'm trying to find a way to get into the land side of real estate. Really, my focus has always been, improved uh, real estate. So, is there anything you can tell me? Go study this or do that to get started?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you said your main focus was what kind of real estate?
the one that has already improvements on it, right? So
Oh, okay. So basically,
yeah,
houses and buildings and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I would say, depending on your exit strategy, what we do is we wholesale, right? So, we never really take the deals down. We just kind of find deals at a discount and work with builders and kind of supply them land, right? But it kind of depends what you prefer to do. Like in our business, we take the deal from A to Z, right? So some people like to do work on one side where you find deals, you might partner with somebody that has buyers, or you find buyers or partner somebody that has deals. But if you want to jump into the land side, I would just figure out like what exit strategy you want to do. So if you want to wholesale, I definitely would recommend watching some videos out there, and then also, these land groups, we're here to help and just speak about our experience and journey and stuff. So if you have like any specific questions, then we would love to help. But yeah, it turns into market research, right? You find a buyer and builder, get their criteria, and then it becomes a marketing business. So, sending mail, sending text messages, making phone calls, whatever it may be, just to get in front of the sellers to make these offers, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question, Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
Um, you listen to different people's ideas on, disposing of land, and some say, you've obviously done well with finding builder buyers, and maybe you sell some to some retail, but some people say, oh, don't call these builders if you don't have deals, because then they're just going to go, oh, you're just a waste of time. You sort of do a fact finding thing, and they say they'll just blow you off. What's your experience?
I would say, yeah, I've experienced that myself jumping into different markets, and I understand it from both sides, right? Because when you're a buyer or a builder or a developer, you're very busy, and when people call your phone to ask about your criteria or what you're looking for, and if you're buying land, you want to be able to provide value if they say what you got, because that's usually what builders say. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're buying land. What you got?" And then a lot of people, that was their first phone call, so they get rattled. They're like, "Oh, it's kind of how you handle the situation." I usually let them know like we're jumping into the market, but we have lots that we have wholesaled in this market, or we're working on lots and we'd love to send it to them, but we just want to make sure it matches what they're looking for, right? So one thing about it is some builders are just going to brush you off because they get so many phone calls from people and those people aren't providing them value. But if you take the extra step or initiative to do the research, right, in the state of Florida, you're able to see what they paid for lots. You're able to see the streets they buy it on, the addresses, so you can kind of get an understanding. You could do that research on the front end. I see you bought a 10,000 square foot lot for $80,000. It's not on the main road. Is this what you're looking for? And they're like, okay, he did a little more research instead of just calling me, right? Because the answers are really in the comps anyways. We see what the builders paid. We see when they bought it. We see how big the lot is. So we can get those details and kind of just confirm it instead of asking, hey, are you buying these type of lots, or what are you buying, right? And then another thing is you can find the buyers and builders first, which I do recommend, or if you see that they're consistently buying and you end up marketing first and bring them a lot and it fits their criteria, they're most likely going to buy it unless there's something that you're missing. But at least in that instance, they'll tell you, hey, we're not going to buy this lot because it's on a main road. And now you can kind of build that relationship and understand, okay, this builder does not want things on main roads. So I only learn a market by trial and error, working with buyers and builders, having conversations with agents, whatever it might be, because there's always like a certain obstacle in a certain market that you don't learn about until you jump into it, right?
Kind of a follow-on question. Obviously, you're going to find the builders from whatever source, the internet. You're going to look for builders in the area or whatever, and so you develop a list. Then do you go to something like PropStream and look for their acquisitions?
So what you can use these tools, you could use websites, you could just Google the city and put home builders. You can use PropStream to pull the cash buyers in that area in the last 30 days. And then you can either skip trace them, use a company that can skip trace LLCs. But for me personally, how I do it, not everybody may agree, but I use my personal cell phone and I call them. I just call them up. And I find their number, I call them, because my intention is to do business with them long term. So I don't care if they have my personal phone number. You know, I text them. If they got an iPhone, they got the blue bubble for some reason that establishes trust. So, you know, it's stuff like that. The little things, they definitely go the extra mile. So yeah, I just reach out to them. If it's a big builder, they usually have a land acquisitions company, so they don't handle it. But the mom and pop builders, you find the number, you contact them. It's probably the main person, like the owner of the company, where you're able to build that relationship. And me personally, I prefer working with the smaller mom and pop builders because I like that relationship where we can sit down, grab lunch, and kind of see how we could be at service to each other.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Question, Brian. Thank you for your question. Chris, you was next. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was wondering, what have you tried, the business model of just looking for lots, getting them under contract and advertising them to, your buyers, or was there an intention behind switching to kind of like reverse engineering the process and going out and doing the due diligence of like going after what your buyers are looking for? Because I've heard it just both ways as far as, the cons of that being, you could spend a lot of time, getting criteria and like looking for something specific and kind of like working for other people and kind of not getting paid for your time. Whereas it kind of seems like just getting deals, getting land deals and blasting it out seems like it might be an easier disposition strategy. So what was your I guess process for deciding what your model would look like?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, bro. It's definitely like both ways because you could spend your time finding buyers and builders, and then maybe you don't find anybody solid, or you could spend your time getting deals under contract and you can't get them sold because you don't got buyers and builders, right? So it works both ways. The only reason I would try to establish a relationship or a connection with a buyer or builder first is because I don't like to get anything under contract unless I know I can sell it. Like as in I have maybe two or three buyers where I'm like, this kind of fits exactly what they've bought in the last 90 days or so. So I would prefer to reach out to buyers and builders. But for example, I'm jumping into a new market, did the market research. I see there's new construction, lots being sold. I'm in the process right now of reaching out to buyers, builders, or even agents. Agents is a great way that I sell deals to as well because they have a big network of buyers and builders. Maybe that just don't answer their phone, but they have that relationship with them, right? So, you know, you pay the agent a commission or a flat fee. They introduce you to the buyer or builder, you get the deal sold, and they probably have multiple buyers or builders. But both ways work, bro. If you get a
So
great deal, oh, go ahead.
yeah, sorry. Yeah. So how do you manage your like campaigns as far as, once you get, you know, I think you said, you have like two or three buyers, in an area where you're looking for stuff for. Um, are you just running a like one campaign, sort of like generally focused around like what like those handful of buyers are looking for? Or are you like running separate campaigns to like looking for specifically, like how do you manage what each one's looking for?
No, that's a great question. So I have a spreadsheet. We'll kind of know from the phone call or the text messages, the email communication, whatever it may be, how the conversation went, what they're looking for. A lot of builders are just gonna say, send me what you got, right? So
Yeah.
like I was saying, we're able to kind of see what they bought recently because that's the reason we're reaching out to them, right? So we'll see they bought a 10,000 square foot lot for $60,000 in this certain zip code. So I would kind of do the extra footwork to see where else they're buying, if it's like different cities or if they're specifically targeted to this one city. And then I'll go out there and hunt based on their criteria. I don't want to, you know, market to landowners that own land outside of the city if I don't have buyers and builders, especially if it's an area where there's no new construction going on. So all of that is taken into account, right? Land sold, active lots, new construction being built, new construction being sold, how many buyers or builders. So we're just gathering the data and we're like we come to the conclusion, okay, there's lots being sold, there's new construction being sold out here, there's a couple of buyers and builders, we make contact with them. If they gave us the criteria, perfect, we'll hunt for exactly that. If they don't and they're kind of like, send me what you got, then we'll kind of say, okay, they're buying these type of lots in this zip code, bring it to them. Once you bring them a lot, they'll kind of let you know it doesn't work. You can ask why, and then you'll be able to understand the market a little better. But it's hard to really understand the market just from Zillow and just from what you see there. It's better to actually be in the market, pitching them lots, understanding their criteria. And if it fits what they recently bought, then they'll probably buy it. But if they don't, they'll give you a reason why, so you can learn from that and then market accordingly.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, it just sounds like you just gotta kind of just start digging in and doing the work,
Yeah, yeah.
networking. Uh, yeah. Sorry, one last thing. Is there a reason why you're kind of focused on like assigning land rather than reselling them on the market?
Well, I actually do both. I just started to do both a couple months ago, but when I was assigning lots, and the reason a lot of people start with assigning lots is because there's little to no risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need much capital unless you have lenders or people that you can partner with, which is great also. I know people that just do land flipping, they take the deal down, they'll put it on the market and sell it. But they're both great exit strategies and I do both. So, it just depends what you would like to do, how much time you want to spend, how much you want to spend on marketing, if you have lenders and, just building that team. But
Yeah.
assigning contracts, you don't need you can do it yourself. And if you have funds, then you can land flip yourself. It's about building the team and seeing what's the best for the exit strategy. There's some lots where I got it under contract. I'm looking to assign it, right? But then I see that there's similar lots that sold for $10,000 or $20,000 more than what my builder is paying. If I did that a couple times, a couple months ago, I'm like, I'm just gonna buy it and put it on the market, and I ended up selling it for $20,000 more than what my builder would have paid me. Well, it would have been a 10,000 assignment fee, but I was able to make 30 because I just took it down and put it on the market. So once you start to understand the market, you get comfortable. You're like, no, I'll take this one down. I'll put it on the market, make a little bit more, So it just depends. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. What's your average like due diligence period? Like when you get things under contract, or just kind of depends?
Yeah, yeah. So certain markets is 30 to 45 days. There's some markets where I got buyers and builders that will close as soon as title is ready. It just depends on the due diligence that maybe the seller has, or maybe they have certain reports that will help. But usually it's standard like 30 to 45 days.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate that, man.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, John?
I'm great. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Thanks for coming out.
I appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Cool. I wanted to ask you, do you do on-market properties or only off-market, or does it matter?
So I target off market, but I've also wholesaled lots that were on market, as long as the numbers make sense. But yeah, usually I target off market lots because the builders that I usually work with, they have access to the on market lots. So they're like, that's on market. I could just go ahead and make the offer. But I've done it before. So they both work, but I find off market works better for us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's been easier for me to target on market because I'm beating them to it with better terms and then turning around and selling it to them for a higher price. And they're agreeing to it because if it was on market, they'd have to bid against 12 other bidders.
Got you.
So I kind of have an advantage when I put it under contract on market to get a good assignment fee out of it.
Okay. Can you give me a scenario of this process?
So you want to know numbers, or you want to know like the
Numbers
process?
and terms. Yeah, numbers and so let's say there was a lot on the market, you could get it done. What would you
All
do
right.
from?
I'm a realtor, so I get a commission.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm representing myself. So that puts a couple extra thousand in my pocket, offsets the price a little. So I could put it under contract. If it came on the market at 130, I'm offering 135. Lots will sell around 150, 160. I'm offering 135 representing myself. I put in about 15-day due diligence with an option to assign, but I'm still liable.
Gotcha.
And then I do 1,000 down at signing when we all agree, and then after due diligence, I'll put 5 to 10,000 down, and that goes hard, and close in 30 days or 45 days. Close 30 days.
Gotcha. So you're using the data that you have as a realtor to make these offers as soon as they come on market.
Well, I kind of did what you did because I'm in Florida here, same market as you. So I'm going on the MLS. I'm seeing all closed transactions. I'm reaching out to agents because they, like you said, they have a wider network. And I'll just go to the agents, tell me what your buy criteria is. And then I go out and make the offers and lock them up and beat them to it. And then I turn around and say, hey, I got this one under contract. And like you said, if I can get more money, I'll close it myself. And then put it on the market or just go straight to the end seller.
Yeah.
Just take it that way.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great strategy, man.
But I'm about 20 to 30 per I need to be minimum 20% of value.
Or as you mean
So for the numbers to work, like if I were to close, I would have to at least be like 30% of value. If I'm going to assign, I need to be about 20% for it to make sense. Because I got to give a referral fee out to the broker that brought the buyer to me. So I give them a referral fee. If I bring a private money lender in, if I want to get financing, that's going to be a little more money. Or I could just use my own funds. It depends on my situation.
Right. Yeah, man, that's it works, and you're using the tools that you have at hand to actually get there first, and then once you got it in the contract, you're good to go, bro. So I
Yeah, I
love
just
that.
find it takes longer, takes like 90 days for me at least to get an off-market deal. Can take up to 90 days.
Yeah, for sure. No, I would say yeah, most of the deals we close, it's never the first time that we're contacting the seller.
Right.
So these are all follow. So what you're doing, actually, you're able to see who wants to sell, get there first, and get the deal closed in 30 days. So we wait in 6 to 9 months for follow-ups to hit and things like that. So
Yeah.
I would say if you can, for me, like after having this conversation with you, if we can add these two strategies together, you're going to be able to close deals that are on market and also target off market and have the pipeline flowing.
Here's my probably biggest problem. Especially like the big corporate buyers. They're so like stringent on their own policies. Like they don't want to use my title company. I got to use theirs. They only put this amount down. They won't go any more security deposit. They got to close in this amount of time frame, blah, blah, blah. So I beat them out by going shorter time frames and higher security deposits to beat them out in the race.
Yeah, and you offering 5K more, bro, because
Exactly.
you got that's genius, bro. That's smart.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. I love that. I'm glad that's working for you, man. Like I said, everybody has a different strategy, but there's so many things that works. You could just gotta, plug and play and see what works for you.
Yeah, and then after a while, if the agents see that you're producing, bringing value to the table, they'll start bringing you deals.
Right.
They'll start calling you with deals.
Right. What do you think about a good friend of mine said that he contacts agents for pocket listings, and that's a great way to get leads. What do you think about that?
Here's the thing. I see on YouTube all the time, like people reaching out to random Zillow realtors saying, and putting them on AI, automatic text messaging to these agents. Hey, you have a deal I'm looking to buy. They don't know who he is. They don't say the name of their company. They just get this blind text. my strategy is I make offers. And if I'm making an offer to an agent, you're going to know me forever because we did business. Whether it worked out or not, doesn't matter.
Mm.
I saw you brought a deal to the table. It didn't work out for me, but yet I'm going to come back to you again because we kind of made a relationship. I found that to be much better than to do blind texting for agent pocket listings.
Gotcha.
So most of my deals come from agents that I've made offers with and failed, but came back to me because they felt bad and presented me presented me deals.
I mean, that's number one, right? I mean,
It's
we're in that
it's a little slower in building up the database, but I feel like it's more solid, rather than mass texting agents that don't know me, that we never even did business together. I don't even know if they're active.
Right.
Right. Like you go on Zillow and pull up a list of agents, you don't know if they're active or not.
I mean, you
So
brought up
that's
the AI,
my take on
brother.
it.
Yeah, you brought up the AI. So the only difference when it gets really crazy is the relationship, what you're talking about,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
even for myself, like I'm an agent and I get these AI text blasting, hey, you have any deals for me? I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Call me. If you want a deal, call me.
Mhm.
Tell me who you are.
At
And
least
maybe
get to
I'll
know
take
me
it serious.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. I prefer always building the relationships too. That's why I prefer working with the mom and pop builders because I'm actually able to speak to the owner. We're able to understand each other, see if we could be at service. So I agree 100%, brother. So,
Cool.
yeah.
I don't want to take up too much time here.
No, I
No
appreciate
problem.
it, man.
No problem. I think Tamika was next for her question.
I'm gonna try to go fast because before somebody starts talking in the background. All right. So my two questions that I have are first, how many markets is too many markets to work in before you make traction? Like are you spreading yourself too thin if you're in, let's say, 4 different markets and you're only doing a few deals out of each, or should you kind of just focus on 3 or 4? Like I'm just basically trying to figure that rhythm out. Right now I'm in a few markets, but I don't know if I'm spreading myself too thin.
Right. So that's a great question. The first thing I would ask is how big is your team?
Me and and my VA.
Right,
So
right.
so that's it.
It's not a bad thing. I only got 3 people on my team too. So for us, we do maybe 2 or 3 markets, but everybody knows their position. I was writing it down actually today of like what each person's task or position is. But for us, we might do 2 or 3 markets, but there's always somebody working on something, right? Like there's always somebody marketing. There's always somebody finding buyers and builders and doing the market research for the new market that we're gonna jump into, if so. And then there's always somebody that's qualifying leads or whatever it might be. But for you and your VA, if you're in 2, 3 markets, but you already built your buyers list and you already got the criteria and you're just hunting, then it may work if you do more. So you got to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing every day consistently. So, you're building the team, they're playing their positions. But for me, I do 2 or 3 markets at a time.
Okay. And then to that point, as far as your VAs, at what point do you change? Like, so originally I had my VA where he was texting, making offers, etc., but that wasn't really working out that well. So how I have it now is I'm pretty much the person that's doing all of the initial, like if somebody's interested, things to that nature. And then on the back end, he's the person that's following up. Like if someone said they were interested, but they just went ghost. So he's getting that person back on the phone, or if I sent out, an agreement or contract or whatever, just trying to make sure they get it back in. So he's kind of like my follow-up person where I attack the front end of it. And it's more so just from the perspective of, I think it was more like, I guess, word track. I mean, I've been in sales for a while. So when I'm speaking, I kind of know how to navigate that. And I think he was still kind of learning to navigate that. So I felt like I was losing things having him do that part of it. But I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out another way to structure it to where I could potentially do more.
No, yeah, for sure. So it seems like right now the VA is making the initial contact. Once they're interested, he tees it up to you, and then you try to get the deal locked up. If you don't, then you put him in a follow-up, and then he reaches back out. And then I'm not sure, are you handling dispo as well?
I got a call. I had a call coming in. Yes, I am doing dispo unless I'm JV in it with someone.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the process could work. Like I said, everything it works differently for everybody, but I would say in our business we have a marketing VA and then we have an acquisitions manager, right? So the marketing VA pre-qualifies the lead, they tee it up to the acquisitions manager, and their job is to close the deal. But it seems like you're wearing different hats, which is okay. You're doing acquisitions and then you're doing dispo and he's doing marketing and follow-ups, but it could work. It's not, so it just depends how you want to run your business. But I agree with you though. If you feel like you're the one to close the deals and you can get the job done, then go ahead. But you're gonna have to let that position up soon if you want to scale. So you just gotta figure out the role you want to play. Like me, I handle dispo. I could hire it out and kind of, you know, honestly automate the business, but I enjoy this part of the business. I enjoy reaching out to the buyers and builders, building relationships. So the front end, the acquisition stuff, I don't like that. So I hired it out. So I try to put the right people in place, you know. Some people, like I said, they only have a dispo business. They're all they do all day is build cash buyers lists and JV with people. Some people only do acquisitions, and then, you know, so you just figure out how you want the business to be ran. But yeah, I would say just have your VA keep doing what they're doing when they qualify the lead. You know, you got the follow-ups, which is important. It's just, I would try to, if you need to hire another teammate or kind of figure out how you want to structure it. But we got the marketing VA, acquisitions manager, transactional coordinator, but my acquisitions manager does that as well. They just send paperwork, keep follow up with title companies, stuff like that. They're able to do that as well. And then I handle dispo. So um, just different positions, whatever you prefer, however you want to hire it out. But
Okay, so to that point, and I won't hog up. I had another question, but this is going down the road of something that I have a question about as well. So when you're hiring, if you bring somebody else on, is there a way to compensate them where it's pretty much based, it's almost like commission rather than having to pay this person hourly or whatever? Have you found a structure that works where their skin, not really their skin is in the game, that's not the right word to use, but basically if they don't, like you say, you hunt from what you eat. Is there a structure to compensate that way to where you're not always paying out and not getting anything back?
right, no, everybody does theirs differently, and I was actually thinking about that today. I'm like, just $5 an hour in the VA working 40 hours a week, they comfortable, they living good. So, you know, it is what it is. You might have to take down the hourly and then give them a commission for each deal. But right now, my VA gets $5 an hour, and if we close a deal, then she'll get an extra like $75 to $100 bonus for each deal that's closed. So when we do have great months, you know, it motivates her. But then also sometimes I feel like the VA might get comfortable because I'm they good regardless, right? So you might have to find that medium where you speak to your, or just kind of talk to the VA about how you want to structure it if they're okay with it, but show them that because they have commission, you can make way more than just the hourly pay. So it's a tough combo to have, but if it needs to be done,
Okay.
right?
I appreciate that. Francisco, if I have time for one more, I promise you it'll be quick. This one is super quick. What's your word track? Because I know you said you were selling timeshares before, which is definitely a hard sell. But what do you do for the individual that thinks that their land is worth $1 million and it's only worth 100,000 or whatever? Like, I feel like I get those people all the time and it drives me insane. And they're very wrong and strong. So I'm just wondering, is there something else I can be doing to persuade them that that's not really what it is?
Me personally, I don't pay attention to it. So if
Okay.
if their lot is, you know, worth $50,000 and they're asking for 100, I'll say, hey, I can offer you $40,000. And if anything changes, let me know. So I'll put them in a follow-up and then just kind of go from there. So um yeah, that's how I would handle it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think last week we kind of seen that yesterday on the live calls where I think the second call, it was a lead that Dennis brought in. The guy was already asking 160 in PSL.
Mm.
And Mason had brought up a comp, right, Nick? Either on the same street, that was selling for like 135. And by the end of the call, I wasn't trying to convince him to take a lower price. Only thing we did was position him in a situation where he was able to consider 140. And in most scenarios, a $20,000 drop is very, very big, or a big obstacle to overcome. Because my general rule of thumb is if we're more than $10,000 apart, there's not even point of even having a further conversation, because we're just way too far apart. So I think you just have to position the seller's mind frame and bring them down to, reality by asking them other questions that other people don't ask them, right? One of the questions that I asked the gentleman last week was, because one of the common objections or things that they say is, oh, well, I've gotten other offers before. Okay. Have any of those offers been in writing? Have any of those individuals show you proof of funds? And now, once they start thinking, oh man, I don't think they really did put it in writing. They really didn't show me proof of funds. Okay, now we're in a position to question, do you even know if those offers were really serious, or were you just was that someone just trying to throw a number at you to get you to buy it? Because it's one thing to give a number to someone, but it's a whole nother thing to actually get to the closing table and be able to, move forward. So definitely make sure that you guys don't stray away from those objection handlers when dealing with sellers, because obviously we get a whole bunch of crazy responses.
Facts. Yeah, most of the people be asking for too much, bro. So I would say like the people that be asking, like they know their lot is worth 50 and they asking 250. I'll be like, okay. But in that position, if you educate the seller and you tell them, hey, you want 160, but this one's sold for 140, and you're actually breaking it down, that's great. So you can actually educate them on why their lot is not worth that much. And then, sometimes people be like, I got an offer for 160. I'd be like, all right, I tell them you should take that, because the best that we could do is like 130. And then they start, either they really got that offer or they bluffing and they come back and then they're like, okay,
Right.
I'll take that. So
I'm
yeah,
willing to gamble and say it's 9 times out of 10 is probably a bluff.
X.
Because what they're really communicating when they tell you they got another offer is that I didn't take it. So why are you telling me about something you didn't take?
Right. Right.
You didn't see any value in that for whatever reason, and you feel like that's I don't know, it's weird. But go ahead, Chris. You got another question?
Yeah, I hope you guys don't mind if I double dip here.
Not at all, brother.
Yeah, so in building lists, I'm sure there's people in here that's familiar with Build Machine. It's what I've been using to build lists, because it gives you the ability to draw out like specific areas and trim off whatever you can. You can get real meticulous with it, but I've reached my limit on the amount of like list building leads I can do for each month, and it doesn't make sense for me to like to pay for the team version, because I'm just doing everything on my own. But I got a tip from an investor um, on some great opportunities on some lots. So I'm wondering, does anyone else use any other tools to like build lists where it allows you to draw or like get really very meticulous with the list building? Because I don't want to just pull a list based on just the entire county itself. I just really want to focus on a specific area in the county. So if anyone has any insights on getting meticulous with their list buildings or what they use.
Yeah. I mean, I would. How many leads did they let you pull a month for Deal Machine?
So I think it's like 30,000.
Damn, that's a lot, bro.
Well, so I kind of shot myself in the foot this month. So I was running a different campaign for houses, and I built the list, and then I trimmed everything off, instead of trimming everything off and then building the list. So it kind of counted my everything that I didn't really need or ended up on the final list as like my like leads. So I kind of just shot myself in the foot this month when it comes to the list building. But I really want to create a campaign for this this area and county that I got tipped off.
Yeah, this month is tough, bro. Like, you already used 30,000. I never pulled that many leads, so that's crazy, bro. But I would say, see, my answer is gonna be different from others, but that's okay. I would say make a little free trial and try to pull some leads if you just need it for this month.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be doing, you know what I'm saying? But you could up it for a month, like up your subscription and then go ahead and down drop it. But when it comes to just, you know, 30,000 leads, bro, you got to do something with that. So I would just
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you use Deal Machine as well for list building?
So I use PropStream. I was using Deal Machine for a while when I was having my VA drive for dollars and send out postcards, but I
Mm,
don't use it anymore. So right now I'm still using PropStream and also Land Vision as well.
Land Vision. Okay.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question that I think would be beneficial also for the group as well too. Breaking down, I guess, like a quick um, case study on your $250,000 a month, right? The deal, how you got it, the negotiation process, and then the disposition process as well too. So I don't know how many deals it entailed for for that big month, but if you can give like a brief overview of a case study of what led up to that and then the process of those deals, I think that will help people as well a lot too.
Absolutely, brother. No, so like I said, man, it's been a journey. We've been at it for 4 years. The first year in 2020, we made 3,000 the whole year. 2021 came, we did a little better, 2022. So we consistently got better. But for the first 6 months of 2024, we made more in our business than we made in the last 3 years, right? So it shows like the substantial growth when you actually lock in and focus. But to be fully transparent, we had over $100,000 months, $50,000 months, $100,000 months, and then in April we made $0. Like we didn't close no deals, bro. So that's when I kind of went through. You have those negative thoughts. You're like, damn, is this for me? What am I doing wrong? You start to overthink instead of what you're supposed to do, which is just, pray, have faith, and just focus and lock in. So we started sending out more marketing in April when we had that bad month. There was no deals in the pipeline. We're like, what's going on? We sent more mailers, we sent more text messages. May got a little better. And then June, we had about maybe 6 or 7 deals that we did assignment fees, right? So it was about 95 to 100,000 in assignment fees. And then there was 2 land deals that we actually took down. So I just bought them with my own funds because I just had money sitting around. So I just bought them. The reason I bought these deals is because I've been in this market and I knew that I can sell them for potentially 20 to 30,000 more than what the builder was going to pay me. So I took those deals down. I was able to list them. And of course, this was before, right? So the deals just happened to close that same month. So this is the process of it going. There's deals, follow-ups, yeah, building up and stuff. So what we did for April is going to be, coming through, but there was just ups and downs. But the month that we did the 250,000 is the follow-ups are going. There was contracts being assigned now, and then our buyers were closing quick. And then there was a couple land deals that I purchased that I put on the market, and we were able to go ahead and do really well on those. And those were it was 2 land deals that we purchased and we ended up closing and making our profit over what we paid for it. And then it was probably like 7 or 8 assignments, like assignment deals that we closed. So that kind of changed my perspective too, where I'm like, I'm doing all these assignment fees where you could think about it on all different levels. Like you got to do 8 to 10 assignments to make 100,000, but you're able to make 100,000 with just 2 land flips. And then you start to be like, oh, I might be, doing things a little backwards. So you just learn different exit strategies and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the same marketing, SMS marketing, mailers. And when we take the deals down, we just flat feed on the market. So we're not working directly with a realtor. We handle all the inquiries that are coming in. And then yeah, it just, it went from making $0 to doing a little better to having our biggest month, right? So I just want to have that consistency where I'm able to do it and do it again and do it again and do it again and hit different milestones. So of course it's a blessing, and I'm very grateful for it. And I just want to be able to repeat it because sometimes it feels like a fluke, right? Like my first 100K month, I'm like, this is just, I need to be able to do it again to talk about
Right.
it. Yeah, it was a blessing, but I just want to be able to do it again. I want to be consistent with what I'm doing and just focus on different exit strategies in the land business.
Right. Cool. And real quick, for as far as the marketing and things of that nature, right? Because you mentioned sending out mailers, sending out more texts when you had that down month. Do you keep track of like your cost per lead, your text per, your text per lead, your ratio for contracts to a lead? Do you keep track of those? And if so, how do you break that down in your particular case?
Absolutely. So we like to see how many text messages we have to send out to get a couple. So our KPIs, we like to see how many text messages will bring in hot leads, how many of those hot leads will turn into a contract, and how many of those contracts will turn into a closed deal, right? So our marketing expenses vary. I would say they're between $3,000 to $5,000 a month, depending on how much marketing we're sending out. But that's including paying our VAs and our team and stuff like that. Um, but same thing with mailers. We like to keep track of how many mailers we send and how many callbacks we get and how many of those turn into contracts and how many of those close into deals. So for us, I would say 800 to 1,000 leads might turn into 4 interested leads. Out of those 4 interested leads, 2 contracts might come in, and out of that one, 2 contract, one might close, right? So that's how the numbers vary. But for the mailers, I gotta double check because we don't send too many mailers. We might send maybe 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 a month, but we're not sending 10,000 mailers a month. So we just do both. When we do send mailers, they're very targeted, and we already know what the builder's paying, so we just offer under that. That's how we do it. We don't do 70-80% of market value or anything like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then breaking down those 2 deals, right? Those 2 massive deals that you took down yourself. Talk about your thought process in taking them down, especially if that was like your first big purchase for flipping, right? That was your first big purchase for flipping.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Talk about your thought process going into it, and I guess how you got the deal, how you negotiated with the seller, and then ultimately getting rid of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we had this deal under contract, and this is somebody that we were speaking with for months, right? So continue follow up. We finally negotiated to a price, and when we send out the contract, the seller went ghost, so we had to follow up. We had to, see what was going on, but we finally got it signed, right? When we got it signed, I already pitched it to the builder, and they already told me they're willing to pay me 30,000 over, right? 30,000 over what we got it for. So I'm like, I'm looking at the comps, and this is the situation I'm talking about. I'm like, they're willing to pay me this, and 30,000 sounds great, but I'm like, yo, there's a lot selling for like, 10, 20, $30,000 more than what the builder wants to pay me. So it's a market where I'm very familiar with it and stuff. So I had no fear. I'm like, I know I can sell this for more, right? And of course, spending maybe, 50 to $100,000 of your own money might be, you might have that fear like, damn, what if this goes south? But I knew the market. Like I felt like I've done enough deals and I know the market. And I'm like, the least that will happen, right, is I fall back to the builder's offer and make 30,000. So you already got that cushion. So I'm like, there's nothing to be afraid of. I took that deal down. I put it on the market so fast, bro. I'm like, yo, let's get this sold as soon as possible, bro. So yeah, it was just the process of understanding. And then again, you guys, I would say you don't have to have that attachment to money. It's a tool. So if you can use it to make more, that's the point. When you have it sitting in a savings account or just sitting around and you're not putting the money to work, it's not doing nothing for you. So when you're closing these wholesale deals and you got money from assignment fees and it's just sitting around, you got to figure out what to do. And I was like, I might as well just buy it and go ahead and flip it. So, spending that first $100,000 was crazy. But then I'm like, worst comes to worst, it's gonna come back and you make 30, you get your 100 back, you're good. Best come to best, you might make extra 30, right? So
the worst case scenario is still good.
Right. So you got to take calculated risk, but you got to understand that the money comes and goes. You just got to put it to where it multiplies, bro. So I had that attachment when I first got started, but I noticed that when you change your mindset from, the scarcity mindset to abundance, you understand and you have confidence because this is what I do every day. Like we buy and sell land, we find off-market deals. I've been doing this for 4 years. I have to have some type of confidence in myself. So yeah, it was just certain deals, but I don't do this with every deal. So I would just pick and choose like maybe this one will work, or yes, I know this one will work. Let's go ahead and move forward with that.
And this is a real quick, probably a quick plug. Mason offers land funding for deals. So if you ever need some land funding for your deals, Mason is a perfect person to get in contact with. Mason, if you want to drop your link again real quick in the chat. Mason has done, I think, well over 400 land deals, right?
Damn.
So I got that. Yeah, so Mason is an expert. So Mason offers, and he'll partner with anyone that as long as the deal makes sense. If you go to his website, he'll give you all of the criteria that is needed, and then you can definitely reach out to Mason. And if you need funding for your land deals, he'll definitely be the go-to person to contact.
Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, please do, y'all.
Yo, Mason is ready to spend some money on some deals, bro. I love people like Mason. Mason is getting to it.
Trying to, man. We've got a lot on the market right now, but I mean, we're probably trying to acquire like another, I don't know. I think our goal is like another 4 million by the end of the quarter. So we'll see.
What was that number? Hold on, what?
4 million. I mean, they're bigger deals, so it's not like
Yeah.
$420,000 ones or whatever the math is for someone that's good at math.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's good
No,
stuff.
yeah.
There's a lot of places to do a lot of deals. Just like Jonathan said, there's a lot of exit strategies. It depends on what your, ability to access capital is, what your risk tolerance is, and what your, goal APR is. I feel like people look at just cash on cash return, but if you're making $3,000 on a, $20,000 investment in 3 days, that's, it's an infinite APR. So a lot of ways to make a deal happen.
And one thing,
I was gonna ask, how does the funding work? Like if we wanted to partner with you, bro.
So it depends on the individual deal. Usually for the first deal that we do with someone, it's a 50-50 split of we provide all the capital necessary to close and any necessary improvements, closing costs. We market it. We do everything. Essentially, if you have a good deal, you submit it to us, you assign the deal to us, and then we manage everything and then split the profits upon the sale of the property.
That's fire. You guys do like entitlements and stuff like that?
Yeah, we will. It has to be a market we have familiarity in, for that process. So definite priority in Colorado, Arizona, Florida, the Carolinas, and Alabama.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I gotta get with you, bro. He said 4 million. Francisco said, wait, repeat that one more time. That's amazing.
That's the good side of it, but it's also, the ability to hold a lot of inventory, and you deal with, capital calls and, funders and stuff like this. So I gotta roll, but Jonathan, yeah, let's reach out, connect one-on-one.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, brother, man.
See you.
And real quick, before we close, I do want to highlight something that you were explaining when you were talking about the deal that you were trying to sell to the builder, and then you knew that you could get more because you were familiar with that market. I want to highlight a couple of things. One, it's very important to know the market that you're playing ball in, so you know your options in your exit strategy. Most people would have jumped at the fact that, I can make a quick 30K and then leave money on the table by not exploring and being well informed about their market and other exit strategies. So number one, definitely make sure that you know your market that you're playing ball in like the back of your hand, right? The second thing that I want to highlight about that is that even though it was a risk, like you mentioned, it was a calculated risk, right? You already knew the numbers, you already knew the comps. That's the beauty of learning how to comp land, or learning the market and what's selling and who the key players are and things of that nature. And then after taking that calculated risk, knowing a different exit strategy other than just assigning it to a builder. Because if that's, let's just say, for example, if that was all that you knew, only thing that you could accept is $30,000. So the reason I want to highlight that is because I encourage everyone, and this is also like what I'm currently doing now, challenge yourself to learn things that you do not know. Because if that was the only strategy that you leaned and relied on, you would be selling yourself $20,000, $30,000 short by not exploring other options and considering the fact, well, I know he's telling me this price, but the market is telling me I could get this. And sometimes it takes a lot of guts to tell a builder that you got a good relationship with, hey, now I understand that you're offering me this, but I know you could do more. Right. Because again, most people want to keep the relationship on the tidy up and up. So I definitely want to highlight those things because again, it's definitely important for us to be well versed in the exit strategies of land. And I was even talking to someone about this, I think a couple of days ago. There's so many different avenues you can go with land, and land is one of the most overlooked parts of real estate, but yet it's the most fundamental. So definitely wanted to highlight that about your story about your deal.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, I would say that too. I would say if I was able to learn like different exit strategies way before, bro, like we probably would have doubled what we're making, right? It's like if I were to take the initiative to learn this, because there's people doing things that it blows my mind, but it's just regular to them because they surrounded themselves with that environment. They cash flow off land, right? They're doing land entitlements, so they got deals that might close in a year or two, but they're making millions, right? So it's like there's so many different exit strategies, and it intrigues me, bro, because we are in the land business. But like you said, you don't just stop at wholesaling.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that's the journey I'm on now too. So I'm definitely trying to connect with others with doing different exit strategies and trying to just brainstorm to see what else we can learn and what else is out there, man. So yes, sir.
Perfect. Any last questions before we wrap up, just so we can respect everyone's time?
Yeah, Francisco. I was late to the call, but I wanted to see about Mason. I'm in South Carolina. I'm looking at a couple of big deals, but we can't do assignments here. How would you overcome that problem? Because he just was talking about, turning it over and assigning it to them, and then they take the ball and run with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so with assignments in South Carolina, right? Because I guess they banned it also in a couple other states. What I would do, basically the process of working with Mason is, let's just say you have a seller that you come into agreement with on a purchase price, right? Normally the standard would be to, put it on the contract. And when Mason's referring to assigning it over to him, you're not assigning it over to him with the intention to make a profit. You're assigning it over to him so he can buy the property from the seller, take ownership of it. And then after you take ownership of it, at that point, you could do whatever you want with it, if that makes sense. So you're not
yes.
You're not assigning it to Mason to make $5,000, $10,000. You're assigning it to Mason so he can take it down. And then once you guys have ownership or whatever you guys structure on the deal, at that point, you can do whatever you want with it and then, resell it for more.
Gotcha. So it's not really like a wholesale deal. It's like a JV.
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Appreciate that.
And then worst case scenario, if the title company gives you like some pushback on it, you can easily change the name of the buyer on the contract by just putting an addendum and saying like, hey, the buyer is changing from 123 LLC to ABC LLC. And then that's how you'll work around the non-assignment thing.
Gotcha. Thanks.
No problem. Any other last questions? Want to make sure we get all of your questions in before we wrap up. Well, if everything is good, Jonathan, thank you again so much for taking the time to drop some knowledge on us, share a little bit about your experience and also your story. I got a lot of value from it. I'm pretty sure a lot of the everyone else got value of it as well too. So again, thank you so much again for coming on and dropping some game, man.
Appreciate y'all for having me, brother. You already know, man.
Yes, sir. So we'll be back next week again, from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time. Next week, we're going to have another land guest that is very experienced in big parcels of land. So again, I invite all of you to come. If you got a lot of value from this particular meeting, you're going to get just as much value next week. We're going to have a guest again talking about his experience with entitlements, the process of developing land, selling it up, subdividing it into smaller parcels. And yeah, so come with your questions ready, especially for who was the guy last week that had 400 acres? I think it was Brian. Is Brian on this call? Okay, I don't see him on this call. But yeah, for those of you guys dealing in the big acres or tracts of land, next week guest is definitely the person you want to ask those questions to, because he has tons of experience doing it with many different variety of exit strategies. So come prepare next week. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace out.
Normally it says stream to Facebook. I'm not seeing that.
What you using to